Today I'm starting a series on a lot of spring items, and we're starting off with these mini composition books. I will be having some treat items as well because, as I previously stated, I'd like to prepare things for the kids as well, particularly my Sunday school kids. We're going to start off with these mini composition books. Now, in case you're wondering where did I buy them and which ones they are, there are two varieties. From Walmart you can purchase these. Now these particular ones are well, let me just go ahead and do the comparison. You can go to the Dollar Tree and you can purchase these. Now if you'll notice and look at them this way, you see there is a big difference in the thickness of them. And then there's also, if you compare them together, the Dollar Tree is slightly smaller, not too much smaller, but slightly smaller. But you can tell in the thickness too. So what I'm going to do is make some from both. So in case you don't want to buy the Walmart, you can buy the Dollar Tree. Now there isn't too big of a price difference. These say 50 sheets each, and this one is 240. So there is a difference. I don't think there's quite 240 in the thickness in terms of individual. 240 pages here. Just to give you an idea, these two items that I featured are particularly from the Walmart composition, and these also come in this color and the purple and lilac, and then also the blue. Really pretty colors, very spring colors I like. The actual Dollar Tree ones come in maroon color, black, and then this also type of purplish. So just to give you an idea on those. But again, we're going to start with the, we're going to make, just to give you an idea of what this looks like on the back and the front. And then this one has a little pocket in it. We're not making this one today. We're making this one today. Now this one I actually put a band on it in the back. So you can actually go like that and it can remain. I didn't put a pocket in here at all. Now there are just a few other things I want to point out here that I did slightly a little different. Most people, as I did with this one, cover the entire thing, which is what I did. I used that black in the background. It wasn't this way when I started off. However, with this one, it's such a beautiful color, that lilac, that I didn't really want to cover that up. It's so pretty. It's going to be so beautiful, and this is the color it actually comes in. And so let's go ahead and get started. But one more thing before I do, I want to give you the measurements. Now, for those who need the measurements, just know at the end of this video, if you want to skip forward to get the measurements, you can, but they're going to be at the end of the video. So I will give them to you right now, but I'm also going to state them on a sheet at the very end. Naturally, this book is from Walmart, and this is the first thing you start off with. The next color that you're going to use is black right here. And this black cardstock is 4 3/8 by 2.5. And then we have the lattice. Now these were designed on my scan and cut, and if you want one, just send me an email and I'll send them to you as well. Otherwise, if you have your own die, or you want to put, now lattices aren't that hard to make. Let me just say that too, because you can get a square, just get a square and measure it according to your composition book. And then use another die, because you put two dies in one, the bigger die and then the smaller die, and that'll create this line that goes along here. And then simply turn it over and begin to do a crisscross with like 1/8 or less than 1/8, maybe 1/16 of sheets going across, this way, and then going across that way, and then actually you'll cut off the edges, and that will make your lattice. That's for those who don't have a die cut that cuts this. And for those that do have a scan and cut, the measurements are 4.22, which is going down, by 2 and 0.35. So just to give you an idea, if I go to fractions, that's about, well, I'm rounding it up to 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. So if you're going to make it yourself, your own lattice, those last measurements I gave you will be what you use. Okay, so that concludes this one. Now there is one more sheet that goes on before this does. We actually have our gray paper right here. And this gray paper is 2 3/8 by 4 1/8. So that'll give you an idea on this one. And that goes actually in back of this. Let me go ahead and bring this forward here. And that goes by this one. So you'll see that that goes right on the top. And I'll be putting them right on top of each other. And then the next thing that's going to go are these little lines that I have. And these are 1/8 strips. They are about, let's see, 1, 2, 3. They are about 3 1/2. They can be less because you're going to cut off quite a bit, so you won't even need that much. And you'll use 3 of these. And then you'll have you'll have this sheet right here, which is also this black sheet and this purple. And this black cardstock here is 3 1/2 by 2 1/8. And this purple one is 3 3/8 by, let's see, 2 inches. So that'll give you this one right here. I actually got these off of the internet, and I'll put the link below of where I got them from. So they were a free download. There's quite a number more. Some of them say you're amazing, but I just chose this one and just cut it down. Now this sheet right here, this black sheet, is let me see what this is. This is 2 1/2 by 2 inches. And then what you do is just take off 1/8 off of that and cut the same, this white sheet, according to that. Just so you're going to subtract 1/8 from what you would measure the black part. So that'll give you an idea on that one. And then we have these little strips that I use, this ribbon. Now this ribbon comes from Walmart actually. And it's the Ofray ribbon. That's what it's called, Ofray. And this little portion I just cut off. This is only 2 inches long. And originally it didn't come like this. It actually came, I was trying to find the ribbon where I put it. I thought I had everything out for you, but apparently I don't on the ribbon. Oh, here it is. This one right here. So the number is RN17991, and this is how it comes, just like this. So it looks like this. I don't put the whole thing on there. Now you can if you want to, but I didn't. What I did is I just cut it in. I cut me 2 inches, and then I cut it right in between here. And to make that, make sure it doesn't fray, you can use like what they use, those tiny but those lighters, and they do it that way. Set a little bit of the fire ignited, just a little bit to seal the fray. Others use the actual glue that you can use so it doesn't fray. So that'll give you an idea. And these ones right here, I simply used a puncher, and then I used the glossy accent. So that's where you get that. If you can see, it just puffs up just a little bit from the glossy accents. And that's all I used there. And the glue that I'll be using, I'm going to use some of this Elmer's craft glue. I'll be using this actually on the lattice. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. There are your supplies again. They're at the end of the video, so not to worry. Also, the ribbon itself is the elastic. It's a 1/4 wide, and they come in bulk. I purchased this at Joann's Fabrics. I'll get that out of my mouth. And it is actually 6 inches, so just to give you an idea. And that'll go in the back of this. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's get started on this. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put these together. So we're going to start with I'm going to start with these two. And I'm going to seal that up. And this is where I use the actual, excuse me, I dropped a piece of tape there. This is where I actually use the rubber cement. And sometimes it can get pretty sticky. As you know, you see that it drips a lot. So just wipe it on the sides. Thing is, it comes off really easily too. Now, if I were to do this again, I probably would use a different method. And you can use this method, but to avoid it being so sticky on your fingers, I would actually use it when cutting it out. I would have put the double seal paper on the other side, so you can, after it's cut out, you can simply just peel it off, and then you have your seal. But I didn't think about that ahead of time. So I'm just doing it this way. Sorry about the shaking of the table. Seems like every move I make, the table shakes. So, but I can't help that. I'm trying to manage it better. Okay, so that concludes this one. And now we're going to put it right here on this one too. So we're going to use our glue. This is my little bottle that I use. It is the art glitter glue inside of it. I do use that Barely Art glue as well, but for these videos, I'm just using the art glitter glue. I think they're both just as wonderful. Both of them are just really great glues. I'm glad that the craft marketing arena has all kinds of glues we can actually use, and it can be beneficial for us. I think it's wonderful. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually do as much as I can on this before I actually glue it to here. And the reason I'm doing that is because it just makes it a whole lot easier than trying to wait to do it. I want to make sure I have this the right way. So now this one I didn't cut quite. It seems to me it's a little bit, let me see if I got the right one, because also I just want to bring up a point. They are so different by just 1/16 or 1/8, so it's not a one size fits all on these a lot. This is the back one that I previously did, but seems to be the same. And because you see with this one, you see how there's a little portion off here, and this one I'm not showing that to be the case. So I may have to just make it just a slight different, just because I want them to measure up correctly, and I want them all to be the same. And plus, I don't want to hide that purple because it is so pretty. I call it lilac. Let me bring in the cutter and see if I can just alter it just slightly. And it'll be, let me see if I can do that just slightly without make it a mess. Okay, I'm going to give it a good try, that right there. It's just a tiny bit I'm taking off, just a tiny, tiny bit. There we go. And let's take off a tiny bit over here as well. Hopefully you can see this as it's in camera. So just a word of advice: check your measurements. I guess they're going to differ, you know, with every little one of these, because the measurements are correct. I measured them all beforehand, but apparently these kind of vary in their sizes. So see that, you see how that's a whole lot better? You can see the sides, so it really works out better that way. The second part that I'm going to do ahead of time is I'm going to go ahead and bring in this little strips here, because again, these are very different in the, I mean, it's easier to do it on here than it is to try to, and I'm not putting it on here because I did that before, and it's not the best way. Just put the glue on here, and I just drop it on like that. And since I know this is those little ones are right in the middle, some people want to be more precise on it and they'll measure, and that's okay. If you want to measure, go ahead. And I normally would measure, but since I know that there's two here, you can see that it's going to be okay. All right, so let's go ahead and proceed and put the one on. And I'm just dropping the glue on. That's all I am. You see how I just kind of pat it on there? And it comes right on. Let's see this. I'm going to stand up for just a minute because I want to see what I'm doing here. Sometimes, some crafters I know, they actually stand up with their crafting and do it that way. I think that's great. Although for me, maybe I'm being lazy, but I like to sit down and craft. I do have to stand up occasionally when it comes to something like this because I want to make sure that I put it on there right and that I can tell if I'm standing upright and above the camera, my phone, I can see whether or not I've spaced them correctly. Okay, so now all you're going to do is turn it over, and then you're going to use your scissors and just cut off the ends. Very simple. Let's get these all out of the way. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to use, now I had already previously glued this together to make it easier and to make sure that my video wasn't too long. And that's what you're going to do, just glue that on there. And before we do that, again, I'm going to go ahead and put on these little ribbons because again, it makes it a big difference. If you do as much as you can, well, actually, I'm not going to do that on there because it actually goes on the other portion of it, but this doesn't go on there quite like this. There is another piece. And it's these two pieces that you would glue together. Now, I previously already did this to save time on the camera and editing. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. So it goes like that. And that makes it a whole lot easier. So let's go ahead and put the glue on. I know I mentioned this before, but don't you just love this lilac color? It's not one of my favorite colors, but it is a beautiful color, and I just really like it a lot. Someone asked me not too long ago what was my favorite color, and my favorite color is actually more like a sky blue. The same as my logo, if you notice. I didn't put my logo over here, but this is my logo right here. Whoops. That's my logo right there, and I love this color. It's just so pretty. Let me put my logo up here so you can see it better. I just really like it. But you know, it's kind of hard to decide with colors because they're so beautiful. God made so many beautiful colors. And I'm told that in heaven there are colors we haven't even seen yet. Can you imagine that? I think the colors we have are beautiful right now, but if you think about it, there are colors we've not even seen yet. I think that's amazing. Oh no, I think it is. So then we have this one that it's going to go right there. And let me go ahead and get the glue and put a little bit of glue right on here. Actually, it goes up here. I told you on there, but it actually goes up here and here. I hope you all can see this. And it goes right here. So I hope you all can see this. It's right there. I had a little message come on my phone just right now, and I had to take my finger. Well, I apologize for my camera issue, and hopefully you didn't miss too much. Okay, so let's try this another time. All right, so now we're going to do the back end. Now, I previously, to save time, I went ahead and I already glued it all together. And so we're going to put this on the back now. Shouldn't take too long. These little bottles that I'm using for the glue, I did purchase them from Amazon. So if you're interested, just send me an email and I'll send them to you. I'll send the link to you. Sorry about the shaking. I forget that this camera shakes a lot. All right, so the only thing that we have left is just for the little dots right here. And I don't have many of them. Nope, that's not that same ones. Well, anyway, what I did is I just used a puncher and I punched them out. And basically I used this puncher that I have. It's pretty small. If you look at it, it's very small there. And those are the smaller holes. And then I used a regular puncher like this one that I use for punching, you know, paper, holes in paper in my binder. And that was the bigger hole. And then again, I put this accents on it like this. And let it rest for a little while, and that's what made that. So that concludes this video. I do apologize for all the interruptions that happened during this video, but hopefully you got the logistics of it in terms of how to make it. I did not put anything in here. Oh, you know what I just forgot? Well, the good thing is I did that here on camera. So you can see. Do you notice it, what I did? I'm going to take this off. I forgot to put this back here. So now you get to see my air. You get to see how we did this. But the good thing is you're going to see how I'm going to correct it. And that always helps when it comes to putting things together. Now, let me get something here. Another thing that I use pieces of wax paper. And the reason I do that is I put it in between here so it doesn't get on the papers. And that is what I'm going to do in this case. So this is cut. So I actually put it on here. Let me just check this. Yep, that's what I did. You see my air? You know, I'm going to go ahead and cut this because this is really way too big. I'm going to cut about an inch off. And I'm going to put this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and use some more of this Elmer's glue right here and right here. And I'm going to put that right there. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and put this on here just because I want to get a good idea of where it goes. I'm doing this. And put this right down here. Well, actually, you know what? I think the best thing for me to do is do it this way. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot already how to do this. I think this is how I did it. Here I was showing you the wrong way. Sorry about that, folks, but sometimes in crafting you live and learn. And you know what? The good thing is that when I do it online like this, or it's live, you can see that the mistakes do happen. So I don't want you to get frustrated with yourself because you don't get it right the first time. And you have to hold it just a little bit here and hold it over here. Your hands will get a little bit sticky. That's okay. Just let them get sticky. Just leave them there for press for a little while. That didn't stay. Let me get it back there. And you'll be able to move this around easily, so it won't. Don't worry about it. Every little. Seems like every little movement I make, this table moves a lot. So right. This one's not quite right yet. Well, I'm going to put some little bit more glue on it because it's, for some reason, I'm going to try the other one too. I think I used both of them actually. I don't think I just used one of them. I did one for this, yeah, that's what I did, because I used one for the seal and the other one I used to actually glue it on here. And I know I've apologized for this before, but I really apologize for the movement of the camera. Seems like any little movement I make, it just moves a lot. We're right at the end of this, so I'm trying to make it quicker. Maybe rushing it isn't quite the way I want to do this. Let me go ahead and smooth that. Yeah, that's what it is, to put that on there like that. That works a whole lot better. It really does work a whole lot better that way. Wow, this guy's being a little bit more stubborn. Wish I could hold this table still so you don't have to, that movement won't hurt you. Now that I have that, I think, so if all else fails like mine, then what you need to do is, the next best thing is to use tape, which is what I'm going to do here, because it'll stay down, because it always stays down, but this will help it stay until it seals, because there's enough glue on there to make it seal. It's just a matter of getting it to stay down until it glues, and that'll help it. Okay, so then the next thing we want to do, let me go ahead and seal this up, this Elmer's glue, because I don't want it to dry out. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here like this. And since I made that error of putting it on there too soon and then on top of it, sealing it from the wrong side for the ribbon that I'm putting on here, we're going to go ahead and make an insert here. Because we want to cover that up. So what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to put an insert right here to cover this up so that you don't see that. And I'll come back and show you after I'm done. So in the last video I made that mistake where I put those, after I didn't glue this correctly, and then I ended up gluing it inside, which then I noticed that was not the way I originally had glued it. But I had two glue spots, one here, one there, so I had to correct that. I glued it where it was supposed to be on the inside, right here. And then I made this, and there's always a way to correct, so as you can see, I corrected this. Now, I'm not going to try to bring this over on here yet because it's still wet, and it's going to come out if I do that. But just so you know, that's the way it looks, and then we just simply bring it over, and it seals it automatically, just like that. And so that's how this one will be as well. And I didn't put the two dots on here. These dots, I didn't have them punched out, but you can put all kinds of little things or leave it plain like this. Okay, so that concludes this video. Sorry about all the movement and the mistakes. But again, the mistakes are kind of good because it tells you, it shows you that if you make a mistake, you can correct it too. All right, well, y'all have a great day. Have a very blessed day. Always remember, God loves you more than you know. All right, until my next video, remember there are a couple of more coming up. And just to give you a sneak peek, we have this one too that's been done. Isn't that gorgeous? And as I previously showed this one, but there's another one I'm not showing here, and that's the surprise. Okay, talk to y'all later, right? Have a blessed day. Bye.